Testing. Is this thing on? Yes, it is. Hi, welcome to episode 102 of Detention. Who feels like doing the recap for some sweet inspiration?
Did the last one, so I nominate Lemon.
Aw, I nominate Legs.
Okay, I did make you guys sit and do nothing for a lot of this episode, so I'm going to do that again. Okay, recap episode. What is this? 102 of our 8-episode miniseries. We cut into Brontha, the northern ziggurat. Athalor has been toasted by Garnet, the second of their friends that she's turned to cinders, but this time it was consensual, lovely stuff. The pyre is disintegrated. Athalor is ash in a bowl, and they take him over to the eastern or the northern temple. I forget which one.
You were at the west for sunset, and the ashes went to north for winter / rebirth.
I was incinerated in the west, and I was brought to the north. Athalor entered not here nor there, some manner of pseudo-limbo afterlife, to seemingly discuss with a mysterious voice as to what he should do and who he wanted to be, and whether or not he should return to this mortal plane. After promising to sing of the stars that he saw and glimpsed unimaginable peril coming to Anacra through a gap in the firmament, Athalor does indeed return, but it's not without some drama. Mason and Garnet are forced to stay up through the night and remember their time with their former friend after he became a small pile of ash. And as they're about to play some games, in come a bunch of the Zalarian religious zealots, and they perform a little bit of a ritual with the ashes around a pool, dragging Mason and Garnet over to the Eastern Temple, the Temple of the Sunrise, where Garnet sees a vision of her father, Amosis, if I remember correctly, Tosaka, amongst the rising of the sun. She has a wonderful reconnection with her dad, who tells her that he loves her and that he promises to never go away. And after that, she leads her father to the altar, and there's a bright flash of light. In the end, Amosis is once again gone from this mortal coil, but where he was is instead Athalor, curled up and very naked, holding Garnet's hand. He's come back in a certainly more different form. Less blonde, more silver looking, like a lot of him was stripped away. His eyes have been replaced by pearlescent opals, a lot more akin to the moon that hangs above Anacra now. And it was success all around. The Bronthans were very happy. They were kind of hedging their bets on this one. And they were like, we've murdered a child and we've got a miracle on our hands. So luckily, we came up heads on this one. There is some merrymaking at Brontha. They stay for the night, and Elnau joins them, and Elnau is very, very keen to continue with their quest to free the sage now that it seems like Uncle's influence has been expunged from both the body and mind of Athalor. Elnau does an absolutely perfect 100% 10 out of 10 no-notes teleport, which frags most of the party and puts a long walk before them as they end up on top of a mountain for reasons unknown. And eventually, they shadow walk with the help of Garnet over to Armdarud. And now, the party sit within the shadowed, ruined version of Armdarud, avoiding the attention of multiple shadows, which could drain their life away at a single touch. And they are faced with, I believe the term is a shadow mommy.
Actually, that's if you look it up in the manual, that's the name of the stat block. That's correct. Shadow Mommy. Thank you, Legs, for taking care of the recap. We'll go ahead and do our normal thingy thing. I just got back from Mexico, so I did not put together like an awesome run of show, and I am leaving tomorrow at 7 a.m. to go to Phoenix. So, if
I'd
this is
like
a little
pitch a segment.
Yeah, pitch it.
I was enthused by what you said before we went live. I think we should pitch titles for these episodes.
Oh, yeah, that's going to save me some more work. All right. So, do you want to do that as part of Stars and Wishes, or like just go? Let's hit it first. Okay. All right, cool. So we'll do Stars and Wishes, and then we'll pick a title for the episode / the DM continues to shift work onto the players. And then we will go from there. Crowan, Stars and Wishes for you.
Sounds good. I think the star of the episode was Garnet's dad coming through for her, especially after she was so unsure that this whole thing would work and was getting pretty doomer about it. But she has people looking out for her, or maybe even some way kind of like, I don't know, channeled or even brought him there. It's not the first time that she's like exchanged words with the father after he had passed and stuff, but especially like she was the only one who could see him. But yeah, just it working out and Garnet having that kind of connection and seeing that come to fruition for a big important moment of Athalor coming back is cool. For a wish, I want to learn more. I'm sure we will, but just about Shadow Mommy. I mean, that's kind of she's there. Who the fuck is she? Where does she come from?
I'm preemptively telling you, we're probably not calling episode 103 Shadow Mommy lore, but
what the?
we can vote on that later.
Workshop it. Shadow Mommy something. Shadow Mommy returns.
Shadow Mommy
shows
Money
up.
Gang.
Yeah, that's me.
Legs, stars and wishes for you.
Oh, stars. Star has got to be the meticulous effort that you as a DM put into seemingly thinking out this whole rebirth ritual in both the geography and culture of Brontha. So clap for that. Very nicely done. Big fan of how in-depth that was. And definitely seems like you thought that through very carefully when figuring out how Brontha would work as both a society and a religion. As for wishes, I mean, you took Shadow Mommy, didn't you?
I had to. It's Shadow Mommy. We ended on that. Like, it's just in my brain.
You know what? As someone who isn't much of a shadow practitioner, I'm looking forward to learning a little bit more about how all of this janky stuff works. The entire Shadow world.
Not Shadow Mommy lore, just Shadow lore. Lemon, what about you?
It's not Coffee Crowan's star. I really enjoyed that moment too. I think that I know. I think that was my favorite too. I think second favorite would be like the quick chat with Wallagash afterwards, because I think the reassurance, because I think like deep down as a character, she felt pretty crazy for seeing her dad, and she thought that was some like unresolved trauma of seeing shit, or maybe that it was Zaylar that was like acting as this familiar figure and
wearing a Moses as a hat.
Yeah, like didn't see it as deceptive, but just saw it as like acting through this body, and then other voices happening, and the fact that he kind of like gave her good advice or kind of cleared that up was an important moment. That was pretty cool. Wish, I mean, we all want mommy lore, whatever that was. What else? Oh, we also wish that Elnau puts down the teleport pipe and never ever lights that one up again, ever. And title suggestion, oh, he's 6 foot, he's single. Oh, that's my dad.
When you said that, I was just like,
oh no.
It was Athalor for a second. I thought I was like, wait a minute, he wouldn't be 6 foot. That's a little much for a teenager.
He came back hot.
Yeah, I was like, it's Athalor walking down the stairway to heaven. I was fully convinced that was Athalor. Then I was like, wait a minute, we're 15. That's quite a growth spurt. Wait. And then someone in chat said something like, oh, is that dad? And I was like, oh, fuck.
So you knew you knew after you said it, but before I said it. Brilliant.
Well, like I got a hint, like someone thought it was, and I was like, oh, that makes a lot more sense than my 6 foot, Lakers center Athalor at 15 years old. So yeah.
Yeah. So everyone starts asking Athalor if he plays basketball.
Okay. I've got a pitch for the second half of the episode title.
Okay.
I'm stealing from Star Wars, but another happy landing, because she just consistently fucks these up.
This Dead on Arrival sounds pretty good.
Dead on Arrival is much better, actually. I prefer that.
Ship it. Actually, two of us unconscious on the ground, like, yeah.
Or mantra could be bright and horny.
Oh, dude, it would be so good if we had.
That's way too good. What the fuck?
Like 1021 as like rebirth, and then 1022 as dead on arrival. That definitely seems like a little bit of title trolling.
Oh, yeah. Stealing all these. I'm stealing them.
Oh, dead on arrival is so good.
Damn.
Just
Any
like
others?
real
I mean,
gaming.
that's killer, but there could be.
My question. Tell us about the design of new Athalor.
So new Athalor is essentially like a little bit of a brainchild that people and I have been working on for a while. Because in the post Mind Blank time, like Athalor kind of became a bit of a generalist with a little bit less like specialization. I kind of wanted to nullify that and give him a proper direction again. So Athalor is now a different kind of elf because okay, so when we started this series, you guys had a lot more D&D experience than me, so I kind of had to reverse engineer the character sheet, like try and figure out where everything came from and how making a character works, because I've made like 17 characters since then for one shots. So in the end, we just kind of like completely redid it, and we used the elf and an orc made a baby upbringing / race guide, which is fantastic. Highly recommend.
Cool. Love it.
You can find that on GM Binder Gnomes or something.
It's on the DM's Guild, and I have an affiliate link that I'll post in the description of this episode.
Yeah, check it out. It's really cool. And it means that we made like a new elf version, which can't trans because I've lost all my ancestral memories. And essentially, I passed by gnomes, but it's going to be a Rorkalfar, which is a twilight elf. Because it's a dawn elf that's kind of lost a little bit of a dawning. So new lineage to be established if we survive this encounter. And just losing out on a lot of the blondness, because part of it, admittedly, we didn't want to have 3 blonde protagonists anymore. we did have a trio of blonde protagonists, and that had to go out of the window. Also got a homebrew sorcerer class, which gnomes approved, which is a little bit about like dimensional and planar messing up with things. We'll get to see a couple of the features of it over the course of the next few combat encounters, I suppose, either by accident or by not, depending on how well Athalor could mess with the Gyre. But it is fairly well Gyre themed, but Rialta was kind of looking towards how, while the Gyre is within Underood, the fabric of space is kind of a little bit wibbly everywhere if you look closely enough.
Cool.
Any other questions about Athalor 2.0? I have one actually. What was Athalor 1.0? What, like the second character you ever made? The first?
Yeah, the first I made for that thing Ulemon and I ran.
Yeah, that was your audition.
Yeah, and I think that I essentially just followed a YouTube guide on how to make a wizard. I can't even remember the character's name, but obviously since then it's been a lot more. And it's like, okay, we're gonna stick with sage background. Sure, don't know what that means. I'm gonna make my sorcerer, and my main stat's gonna be intelligence, and I don't need mage armor, and I don't need shield, because I don't know how this class works.
Oh no.
We were talking about it, and I'm genuinely curious how many one-shots you've appeared in, like, and just how many times you've been through the ringer of character creation.
A lot. I'm very lucky that Beep and I generally work on like the visual concepts first and like the themes, and then like I try and find either a homebrew to match it or a regular class that works.
Honestly, that's what I like to do. I often will start with the aesthetics and the visual and then work backwards to figure out how we can make it work mechanically speaking. So first off, I am kind of glad, Lemon, that you asked that. The question about your dad, like, is that my dad or is that Zalar wearing him as a hat? Because that is something that I have been thinking about. And because that whole situation given Garnet's entire struggle with her birthright and the heavy religiosity of her home and her own experiences and the bad shit she's been through, like, that's a legitimate concern. I'll be interested to explore that some more.
I have a question for Garnet, a Lemon, about Garnet after you. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna quickly say, like, I wanted to ask Wallagash if they've seen Athalor, but that's like asking like a priest, have you seen Jesus? It's like, no, we fucking think and communicate. It's like a weird question to ask. It's kind of childish, and we kind of sorted it offline whether people ever saw him, which was no. Mm-hmm. And that's why that was like a real concern of, okay, that is because when they were like, oh, did you see the Sun Rider? It's like, I don't know, did I?
Maybe.
Maybe. But yeah. So we're gonna
is the Sun Rider 6 foot tall and hot?
I hope so.
Kind of along these same things is like the ritual working or like Dad showing up for Garnet, that like strengthen her connection like with Brontha again, or even like put more faith in her own abilities, because like with, you know, being so unsure about this working out, but then kind of making it happen and being that force to do so.
I think like yes, but I think the forefront of her mind is, would she have wanted her dad to be resurrected over Athalor? Would she have, like, if given the option, would she have chosen her dad over Athalor? And that's sort of what she's battling right now, of like, why couldn't they do that for him? So it's almost like, wait, we could fucking just, you know, sort of resurrect people or kill them and resurrect them. Why can we do that with someone more important in our grand scheme? And then the fact that he kind of signed off as like, hey, by the way, I'm never coming back, and then like disappeared, and then here's Athalor, which kind of like visually looks like he gave his life for Athalor. I don't think she like really believes that, but that's like sort of imagery that's given. Mm-hmm. It's like a vibe. So it's like, yes, like 90% of her is like, oh yeah, I'm so happy Athalor's back. Thank God this worked, blah, blah, blah. But then 10% is like, well, what if he could stay instead? Like, I miss him, and if he would be back, all my problems would be solved. Brontha would be solved. I wouldn't be in this shithole if he was back. So it's like kind of, damn, could he just not have brought himself back or something like that? Or could she have done something to change that deal? Not really like her do something about it, but why didn't Brontha kind of do something about that? But so that's like a sort of a thought bouncing around of, oh, I didn't even know this was freaking possible. Because now it's like, oh, wait, this is possible. That's really awesome. But wait, why did we do this before? But maybe the logistics are different. But, you know, a teenager's mind of like, oh, we res people. Why can't we do this more? So
I think that's going to end up being a bit of a wedge between her and Seosh at some point. Like, it seems like Emosis pushed in the mirror image, like, this fucker's why.
I'm not going to answer that question out of character, because I feel like that would be denying an opportunity for some tension and cool storytelling and stuff. So we'll have to explore that in character, I think.
Well, yeah, mostly like, what a surprise that it happened. I don't know if it really changed. Like, yeah, it's like, okay, now I have more faith that when they say they can do something, they can do it. It's like trust is now more there. But not necessarily like, wow, Athalor is like, Athalor has shown himself many of times, like she believes that's all real, but it's more like, wait, we could do this whole time? Like, what the hell?
That's fair.
One of the things about the gods and powers of Anacra is that they're pretty fucking demonstrably real, right? Like, they manifest their powers, they've done things. Arakura's dead, like they can be killed. It's pretty obvious that they actually exist. The questions are more things that Garnet has asked herself, like, why aren't they helping? Why did they let this happen? And they have limits. Like, they blatantly have limits. So while a lot of people take comfort in faith, right? Like that sort of all-encompassing worship and faith that people have, others feel the way that Marisol does when she talked with Athalor, when she was like, yeah, Athalor's not infallible or all-powerful or a lot of these other things, but I'm sticking with him because, you know, either he's the best we've got, or I believe in his message, and like even if he's not omnipotent, I still think that those precepts and stuff matter. And so, as the emblem of that, I'm going to go with that. It's weird because you don't get traditional atheism when the gods can literally smite you. It's a lot more about questioning their motives and their place and their nature and their place in the universe. And I appreciate everyone sitting through 2 episodes of religious theater, by the way.
So like, what's the? Would you say atheism is kind of just like being anti a god, like Elnau is atheistic to Vindor?
So atheism would be,
you can't just deny they exist.
Right. You could believe that they're not what they say they are, that they're like lying to the world. I would put Elnau's position as Vindor's a dick. Right? He's not a god worthy, like, and she doesn't, she's not super religious at all. She doesn't really, as all this was going on, she was like, yeah, okay, let's do all this stuff. She didn't react in awe or anything because as far as she's concerned, the gods just have a lot of powerful magic. They're not special. They're not, they have no spiritual significance because she considers spiritual power to just be another form of power that you can measure. So they're just really, really powerful entities who can be assholes and make mistakes. And so she doesn't have any sort of respect for them outside of the respect she shows for somebody with a really big stick. She respects Ioth more than a lot of the gods because of Ioth's accomplishments and his history and such. Like, that matters to her. What he did with what he had until he fucked it all up and ended up being an asshole. But like, that matters more to her. So if Zalar's out there doing good, yeah, that's great. That's his job. That's what he's supposed to do. Like, he wasn't born. He didn't have a mortal life. The gods, the sovereigns created him to fulfill this purpose. So if he fulfills his purpose, he doesn't get a cookie. And if he doesn't fulfill his purpose, he's an asshole. I guess that's kind of the closer philosophy to that.
Can you give me the close notes of who Rialta is? Oh,
yeah.
It's overlated again.
Yeah. Rialta is the goddess of the moon. Like Zalar, she is the shared creation. Instead of Vindor and Sin, she's a shared creation of Liban, the sovereign of the seas, and Vindor. She moves in like perfect synchronicity with Zalar. As the sun sets, the moon rises. She sheds light in the night. She loves beauty. She loves music. She cares a lot about the people of the world, and she is really upset with the entire Infernal situation. She will often ask her dad to stop being an asshole. Her dad rarely listens. Yeah.
So she's kind of got a team up with Zalar going.
Yeah. It's like she has the night shift. Rebirth isn't really her hat, if you will, but change and transformation is.
Ah, okay.
And
I wonder.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were done. Go ahead.
No, I am done.
Oh, okay. I wonder, like, I know we said like this wasn't miracle noteworthy, whatever, but I still wonder, like, if the priests or whatever, like, thought any sort of way when like Athalor appeared in Garnet's hand and like she said Emosis appeared and they didn't see it. Like, I wonder if they're not considering it to be a miracle, but at least in the same, like, whoa, or is it like, oh, because we all collectively contribute, like they're taking credit for, wow, we were successful. She was there, like it's our miracle, comrade.
I can probably explain this one without breaking too much intrigue. So the 3 miracles that have occurred, they so far only refer to Zalar smiting the shit out of a lot of infernal things. You could call every single spell a miracle, but again, if you want to be academic about about cleric's magic, about divine magic, all magic is the process of tapping into a power source, accumulating energy, shaping it into a spell matrix, and releasing it. Clerics and druids do that. They just get their power from deities, and they don't have to study as much intense theory because the gods do some of the work for them by delivering them these specific prayer spells and such. They still end up studying a lot of theory and such. So the clerics of Athalor and other deities understand magical theory as much as anyone else. They know that when the gods do major things, it's usually the same basic precepts of spellcasting, just on a way bigger scale. And they're often the source of their own power instead of needing to tap into an external source. So the 3 miracles that have occurred so far had very little ceremony about them. They had very little ritual about them. It was just like direct smack. You asked Athalor to help, Athalor helped, and just intervened in a major way. The first miracle actually had a fair bit of ritual about it, but religious ritual is a lot like arcane ritual. Ritual magic for you folks is when you need to do something really powerful or really complicated. It's not something you can just memorize and quickly tap into my energy and cast a spell. It's like, no, we have to set up this huge spell matrix in this like ring with designs on it that are going to channel and focus the magic that we gather into the right form to do this big, complicated thing we had to do from scratch. So the entire ritual of going to all 4 temples was not just for show. It was accumulating our magical energy. Like, it was all a big work of ritual magic. They did not, so they were involved in it, and they did contribute some of their own power and focus. They're not going to take credit for it because none of them can do that individually, and it still required some form of intervention on Athalor's part. But that's kind of what separates it from what they're calling the miracles. This would definitely qualify as a form of divine intervention, but it's divine intervention that had a huge amount of setup and prep on the mortal side of things. Did I answer your question?
Oh yeah, their interpretation of like, who are they? Just like, yay, Athalor was here? Are they like attributing any credit to Garnet, to themselves, to what that part?
They all know that they participated. They saw Garnet's direct involvement blowing up Athalor in the first place. Garnet and Mantra stood vigil. The priests didn't. You two stood vigil. And then at the big moment, you were engulfed in light that nobody could stare directly at. They all sort of saw that as Athalor intervening with you as the conduit. So you were still kind of the vessel. As far as they're concerned, you were still the catalyst or the vessel or the conduit for this divine intervention. Which would be a further sign of like Athalor's favor towards you, your own capabilities, your role in the future, etc. So a little bit them, a lot Athalor, and a significant amount of importance on you. As for Emosis's involvement, that's something that Walagosh and the other theological nerds are very excitedly talking about right now. Figure out exactly what that status is.
He could like maneuver into like a Archangel Gabriel kind of mythology.
Right. That's what they're trying to figure out. Is he like a separate entity now? Is he like a pattern that still exists with its own thoughts and stuff, but is a manifestation of Athalor? Has he become a messenger in that angel role? What exactly is both the super like metaphysical, like what's his stat block and what's his connection to Athalor? Those are things that they're geeking out over right now.
You should ask Garnet. She has advantage on these things. From whatever class it was.
Anything else, team? Anything else that we wanted to cover?
How's Garnet feeling towards Parthenax right now? She seemed to be pretty chill with him.
Pothinus.
Not Parthenax.
Oh, the king guy, right?
Dragon.
That's fine. I didn't correct you in the middle of the show. Who's his voice actor again? Anyways, carry on.
That's the king, right? I'm like, not.
Yeah. Leomon from Digimon.
It's like weird. I mean, the biggest difference was like the before episode where he was like almost acting fatherly himself, just like taking care of things and giving her respect, like telling the spy master to get her whatever she wants. And he's a good listener and wasn't mad, and I don't know, and was helpful with this, obviously, and didn't.
Just
I don't
being
know.
a nice guy.
And he was in such an oppositional role during the original council meetings.
Yeah, and then the whole when she was talking to him about how the parents, aunt, whatever, of Pavan was disrespecting dad, and he was like, yeah, fuck that shit. So the fact that he was kind of like sort of on board with whatever she wanted made him earn some respect points for sure after she was kind of opposed, and it was not like a personal thing. I think she was like, I can do better than this guy, as Garnet would always think about anyone else. I can do better than you. And wasn't a fan of how he supposedly handled the Bathotlo stuff, but maybe there was more to that, more, when you don't consult the other party, you're missing one half of the story. So definitely had him in a bad regard, but not in a personal way, more like, this guy just sucks at his job.
You're in the way of the Garnet destiny.
Yeah, but now he seems more cool. I don't know how much that changes her ambitions, but it's more like,
I might wait for you to die.
I'm gonna see this. I'm gonna see this through. I'm gonna check things out.
Push the timeline on the coup ahead a little bit.
just slow it down slightly. 0.75.
Yeah. Which I'm wondering how like Inaros is. I still haven't like figured out what Inaros' thing is, because he's just, I'm getting fake vibes. I'm just getting weird vibes from him.
You just don't trust hot men.
He's just like too good to be true, and maybe that's just my IRL distrust in men, but that's also leaking into my character, who also has distrust in men. So, and I don't even know if he wants a coup. I mean, he was kind of like, my loyalty is Brontha looking ass, while not being that loyal, but
that bro would burn down Brontha for Garnet.
Yeah, I don't know what his deal is. Can I ask what his deal is?
Nope.
Oh, he's up to something. If not,
I mean,
can I ask
you
if he
can
still
ask,
wants a coup?
but...
Does he still want a coup? Does he want a coup? Did we clear that up?
Coup and chill.
Coup and chill.
Is he Cohen?
We'll find out.
I gotta use an augury next time. Coup, wheel or whoa?
If we coup in the next 30 minutes.
To the throne.
You can have a little coup as a treat.
What if it was just wheel? That'd be crazy.
Right?
Be cool.
Yeah,
Just wheel? What the
Like,
fuck?
literally go right now.
Could you present that evidence of the coup trial? Like, it said wheel, so
Or if it says whoa, I'm like the Arthur meme of like, the sign can't stop because I can't read.
So if I do it in the next 30 minutes, but if I do it tomorrow,
yeah, tomorrow's a different day.
Exactly. It's
New
like the
day,
pizza
new
delivery. It's like, coup successful in the first 30 minutes or it's free.
Storm the Brontham Bastille.
That'll be, episode 300 in year 6.
In our 8-episode miniseries.
Any closing remarks or questions, gang?
Can't believe you think we're getting to year 6 before we get Tippy Kid.
Well, what do we do with the ashes?
They're gone.
Oh, like he turned into a...
They were part of the material component for his new body.
The owl ate them. Oh.
Wait, so like, wasn't the whole point of getting rid of the physical matter so that... Because shit was attached to the physical matter?
Yeah, not after it was entirely, turned into... It was purified by fire, right? If we think about it as an actual biological thing, right? Like, there were modifications to his cells that gave him this quantum style connection to his uncle. Even if the substance, the raw elements that used to be those cells still exists, those cells are toast. They were broken down like the cycle demands. They were broken down and renewed. So even if there's some of the same matter, there's none of the same flesh. That's gone.
So even though he ate like Anacra's blood, it's not like in his ashes and then fucking reabsorbed.
I mean, even if it was, Anacra's blood wasn't what was contaminated. It was his organic matter that was contaminated.
I was fucked up from the start, baby.
Exactly.
I just let the hungry dark or whatever the blood is attracting would be attracted to the ashes then.
Oh no, because even if that survived, the amount comparatively is tiny. What happened when he ate the Anacra's blood was that it hyper accelerated his innate abilities, and one of those innate abilities is a connection to the one flesh. So every time that he partook, that beacon sort of pulsed and accelerated the process. But without his connection, with that gone, whatever he consumed is mere drops. Like, there's a whole piece of Anacra's eyeball in the tower. That's way more than he ever ate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's coming, but possibly slower, or at least it's not going to speed up on account of Athalor.
I don't have to accelerate the timeline. Unless I do. The one flesh has to arrive sometime before Quest for the Book of Dawn.
So we can't just die of old age and live a happy life. We have to get eaten, our asses eaten by the hungry dark.
Oh, we do have 500 years.
Yeah. Well, first off, you have 500 years. Second off, the arrival of the one flesh does not spell doom for Anacra. It's not a good thing, but the sage warned Raelta about all of this. Raelta she has plans. Yeah. The sage left after the nightmares thing. She left to go talk to Raelta. So Raelta is aware of what's happening and is planning ahead, is preparing for it. Which may or may not have anything to do with Athalor.
Oh no. New fate just dropped.
That's why I was like, well, your destiny's your own, but is this destiny here, if you're interested. Be a lot cooler if you were. All right, I'm gonna call it. This has been a good episode. Had lots of fun. I'll be back from Phoenix next week, and then I'm done traveling. And but I don't think we're gonna miss an episode for a while. I think we're on pretty good.
Are we on for next week, you mean? Or not on for next week?
As far as I'm concerned, we're on for next week.
Yep.
Good. Sounds good.
I think we're good until maybe Wednesday the 15th. When we might well be flying to America.
Yay.
Yay.
All right.
To engage in adult
Mantra and Garnet do crime.
I love those episodes. Those are my favorite.
Gets persuaded to do crime.
No, you were complicit.
An accessory to a 2-person episode.
It's like an after-school special about peer pressure and war crimes.
The law sees us the same way. That's all that matters.
That's so true, bestie. So true.
All right, folks. We'll have to wait for Shadow Mommy Lore till next time. Until then, thank you, everybody, as always. Class dismissed.